Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Zuck Reacts, the channel where normally my background lighting is blue, but today it's like kind of cyan because I'm tired of looking at blue color all the time, and no, I can't make it white. I tried. Today we're watching a video called How Good Games Go Bad by Arch. It sounds like a super interesting one, obviously pre-liked because that's just how we roll.
It's an Arch production. Let's face it, we have all made mistakes. From a young age, we've been continuously confronted with choices.
Yeah, I mean, we'd make mistakes, and I'm glad mistakes happen, because if not for my parents' mistake, I wouldn't be here right now, so, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, with some hindsight, you might have been better off with the other option. Nonetheless, you moved on from your mistake,
Fortnite.
hopefully learned from it, and
yeah.
now you are where you are.
Except for me, because if I learned from my mistake, I wouldn't be...
are today, watching a pretty lengthy YouTube video that you hope is worth your time watching.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Holy shit, man, this guy is a mind reader. I want to like the video again, but I've already pre-liked it, which is my bad, I suppose.
Of mankind, we've been confronted with choices. And with every mistake made, no matter the severity, we learned and moved on.
Damn, this channel is like super entertaining so far. Like, we're only 30 seconds in, but I'm like already immersed. How is this guy's not like super well known?
Video games have been a thing for more than 40 years now.
Yes.
With games like Pong and Space Invaders kickstarting the industry. In those 40 years, a lot of mistakes from both developers and publishers have been made and learned from, resulting in games consistently reaching entertainment levels that nothing in our entire history ever could have matched or...
Yep, and because of that, then everything else becomes so sad and so irrelevant because it's nowhere near as entertaining. Like, how the fuck am I gonna force myself to edit these 3 videos I recorded today when I could be playing Dota instead, man?
Beach for that matter.
Fuck, my bad.
Developers and publishers have that nothing in our entire history ever could have matched or reached for that matter. Honestly, games are incredible, and hopefully they continue to get better and better.
I think it's happening. It's happening, and the best part is, the game development tools are becoming more and more accessible to small teams.
Our spoiled needs. I say hopefully, because recently there's been a trend with successful gaming companies making detrimental and easily avoidable mistakes.
Okay, but big companies like fucking things over, because the more people there are, the easier it is for something to go wrong somewhere, you know?
That
it is what
the
it
games
is.
Their fans love oh so much. In this video,
in general, if there is one really good game, don't expect it, if there's one really good game and it's being run by a large company, expect it to go downhill. That is how I've been looking at things, and on average, that seems to be the case.
We are going to identify, solve, and once again hopefully learn from the mistakes Ubisoft, Nintendo...
Yeah, I was literally thinking Ubisoft as I was talking about it.
And Valve have been painfully making...
And Valve, I mean, Valve have not made a new game. Actually, well, they made CS2 recently. I guess this video is from 2 months ago. Was CSGO 2 even out at that point? And also, I'm pretty sure CSGO 2 is just CSGO 1, but with cool smoke mechanics. Like,
enjoy the show.
I will enjoy the show, thanks. Disclaimer, the talented developers working on these companies do not always represent the company decisions. Yes, I 100% agree with that. Do not harass developers or anyone for that matter, guys. Just be good people, please. So if someone's being a piece of shit, it doesn't mean you have to be a piece of shit to them. Just make the world a better place.
Valve is simply incredible.
Yes.
They single-handedly changed the entire gaming industry with
very
their
hard
revolutionizing games. With almost every title they ever released, reaching 95 to 99% positive
That's great. I love how Dota has a fucking horseshit score. But that's Dota's own fault, because Dota is a kind of game that needs to constantly be updating for it to be fun. And they have like one dev on Dota. I swear, there's like one guy working on the game.
Reviews. On top of creating insane games, they branched out and created the biggest gaming platform that's so widely known that I'm willing to bet that you have to computer open right now.
Yes.
Steam.
Yes, I regularly open Steam, look for my library of 100 games that I've downloaded and played 2,000 hours off each, and think, man, what am I doing with my life? And also, man, I'm bored of all these games, so I should probably get a new one to play. And then I look at my library again, I'm like, nah, I'll just play another hour of Stardew Valley.
And if that wasn't enough, they released multiple affordable top quality hardware like the Valve Index VR headset.
And the Steam Deck, which is so fucking good.
Not to mention the Steam Deck. a portable desktop computer that has better price-performance ratio.
Okay, honestly though, yeah, good games go bad, but straight up Valve has been doing bangers recently with Dota got its biggest update in forever, very recently. Steam Deck is an absolute dick slapper. I mean, there's not a single person complaining about the Steam Deck's value or performance, and like convenience is just such a good thing. There's no competition for it pretty much right now. I've not tried the Index or heard too much about it. Like, I know it's big, but I just didn't engage in content about it.
Then
so
I can tell you about it. Time. If there's
and also CS2, which they made very recently. But aside from that, like, they've been dead silent for a while.
One company that I dare to call the best, it would hands down be Valve Software. They are simply unrivaled. But while calling them the best, a specific...
See, that's the thing. I didn't even know Valve has a sub-branch called Valve Software because, well, actually, I don't have a point here. I just wanted to say that.
Specific part of the community, which includes myself, also kind of despises them. Valve is an interesting company. While most game studios have one big group of developers...
I hear Valve also has like the highest company income per worker of like some of in the world, basically, like one of the highest income per worker Valve is one of the highest income per worker companies in the world. Now, that is not to say the workers make some of the most money, although they might. I don't have stats on that. I just know that for how many people work in Valve, the amount of money the company makes is super
working continuously on one title. At Valve, they often shift their attention.
Yeah. So at Valve, you're allowed to work on whatever game you like, and I think that is how we end up with the games like Dota having actual half a year between an update. A competitive game that relies on the meta changing for it to stay entertaining. A game like that can end up having half a year of no updates because of this system, I think.
To the most important matters. An example of an important matter up to recently would be the development of Half-Life Alyx. Alyx is another title that just changed how we expect VR titles to be. The immersion, story, and combat are professionally thought out.
I wish I had a VR headset. Guys, like this video and subscribe, please. We gotta grow this channel so I can afford a VR headset eventually.
Developing such a banger of a game requires only the best of the best to develop, and a very good chunk of the time. This shifting their workforce to the economically most important matter, whilst insanely benefiting that specific title and being the reason why Valve is the successful company they are today, does one particular title pretty dirty. Team Fortress 2. TF2 is my favorite game ever, and I'm saying that even after playing it for more than 10 years now. Almost half my life.
Alright, 10 years, but how many thousand hours? That's what I want to know.
I've been playing Team Fortress 2. But why? Why is Team Fortress 2 such a good game?
Yeah, when you look at it on the surface, it doesn't look that different from, you know, other games that are around.
Why would such a good game be done dirty? I have seen countless...
Okay, so I have a thought real quick, right? This might be completely wrong. This is just a theory, and I really like, I have no proof or nothing. It's just a theory. Please don't dislike bomb the video if it's wrong. I'm just spitballing ideas here. Okay, what if the reason they're not updating Team Fortress is because they see that people are enjoying playing it in its current state, and if they change something about the game around too much, it will just like break the balance of what people are enjoying right now, and people will stop playing. I don't know if that's true because I haven't played the game. Straight up just a theory. If it's wrong, oops. You know, just
videos of countless of TF2 YouTubers explaining why the game is so good. And while all of they say is completely true, I think most of them miss the biggest reason why Team Fortress 2 is a one-of-a-kind game. Yes, I'm sorry Overwatch players. I don't think your game is even within the same competition range of Team Fortress 2. I'll explain why in a hot second.
Let's see it. Fun meter and casual meter you think is higher, and... Oh no, you think that the fun meter is roughly the same in the... You know what? Actually, good point. Actually, great point about the casual thing. I never thought about that.
The basics of Team Fortress 2 first.
The game looks very welcoming to a new player. Like, even when you look at it, it's like you choose one of the classes. You know, there's the guy that heals. There's the doctor. I wonder what he does. Maybe he heals you. No, that would be crazy. Then there's the big bulky guy. I wonder what he does. Yeah, that's right. He has a fucking chunky gun, and that just makes you want to go play PvZ Garden Warfare again.
TF2 is an arena-based shooter with 9 classes to pick from, 14 official game modes to play, and has over 50 maps.
Man, straight up, this just makes me so sad because PvZ Garden Warfare is 100% very much inspired by Team Fortress, and I think it could have been such a good game if they just kept it updated instead of making 100 new games down the line. It's just so sad. Man, fuck EA in the ass. I'm so disappointed. And the skin system was so good. If you use the fire skin on like your snapper, you know the plant that goes, if you enable the fire skin instead of it would breathe fire or ice or whatever, like, and then there was the electricity skin, and then I want to play that game, but no, there's 0 players online pretty much. Fuck.
That is Team Fortress 2. Sounds pretty bland.
And obviously they're not working on it anymore. And they didn't bother bouncing it out too hard, and so it's like there's probably better skins than others because they went and started making new games instead of no. Okay, you know what? I 100% understand the pain of Team Fortress players now. 100%. Literally, it went. My understanding went from like being like, I think I understand what you mean, but I haven't experienced it myself, to holy shit, I am literally living that experience. I have lived that experience myself, and I feel really bad for you.
That is exactly the issue with explaining Team Fortress 2 to someone unfamiliar with the game. TF2 is a game with...
I can't pause too many times because my dog really wants to go take a piss.
Layers.
This video eventually.
To prove my point, here is a random number generator. All classes are numbered in game by 1 to 9.
I'm gonna guess 7.
And whatever number I land on, I will explain why his addition makes Team Fortress 2 one of the best games ever. And we got 4. Okay.
Okay, I'm glad it didn't land on 7 because you'd say pre-washed. I'm sorry, dog, man. I'll walk you in a minute. Trust me. I think that's crazy though that he can roll a number and say that yes, that hero is like, this is proof of both this guy's knowledge but also of the perfect state the game is in.
That is the demo man.
Perfect.
The demo has, just like all the other classes, a primary weapon.
Well, is it perfect? I don't know. I haven't played it enough to know.
Secondary weapon and a melee weapon. His primary is a grenade launcher. The projectiles, which we call pipes, shoot in a curve and they explode on player impact. If you miss the enemy, they bounce instead, roll and explode a bit later. Each pipe you shoot does 100 damage on player impact, meaning you're able to kill 8 out of the 9 classes with just 2 pipes.
Okay.
The skill issue with the nade launcher is that you have to kind of predict where the opponent will be when you shoot your pipe, as they take some time to travel. Simultaneously, you don't want to be too close to the enemy, as the splash damage might just hit you as well.
Okay, cool.
But here's the first layer to the grenade launcher. If you shoot a pipe on the floor and time the explosion, you can pipe jump and get some insane height to reach
but it will hurt you, I'm guessing.
Platforms. Another layer to this technique is that when you propel yourself fast enough,
you can double.
Reach another pipe midair for a second
Fuck, that's so
jump.
cool.
Though even I, with thousands of hours.
Okay. Fun fact. Pixel Gun had a mechanic like that. The gravity gun, when they added that shit, bro, that was so cool. Obviously, Pixel Gun is a very different game now than what it used to be. But when they just dropped the re-release or whatever it was called, like the reboot of the game. By the way, it's a shitty little mobile shooter. But it was so good for its time, man. And when they added a gun that, like, when you shot, it created an AoE explosion and it bounced everyone away, and it dealt reduced damage to you, I believe, or 0 damage. Oh, there was a helmet you could get, like a what's it called, like a golden hat, a golden crown, and that would reduce self-explosion damage by 50%. And so with that equipped, you could do like fucking sick combos and climb up places, and then you'd have like a perfect sniper angle, and it was 100% not fair. But hey, who cares?
Consistently pull this off. The demo man's second weapon is the sticky bomb launcher. It allows him to launch sticky bombs that he can detonate whenever he wants. The stickies turn the demo man into a big brain technician that can single-handedly destroy an entire push.
That's
With
sick.
this gun as well, you can sticky jump, which is easier to do than pipe jumping because you can right-click to detonate whenever you want to.
Oh, that is sick.
Finally, he has a bottle. The demo is a drunk alcoholic, and with his bottle, you can reinforce that thought into your enemy's head. And while standing on his corpse, you can cheer on that immediately just after.
Hell yeah.
That is already a lot of things I said about the demo man. But this is just the top of the iceberg. TF2 has an inventory system. Aside from having many heads, cosmetics and taunts, it also has a very broad variety of weapons. The nade launcher, so his primary, has 3 different options.
What
the lock and load, which somehow has 3 nades and just 2 barrels, don't ask me why, removes being able to do damage.
What?
Somehow has 3 nades and just 2 barrels, don't ask me why.
And he loads all 3 of them in the same one as well, that's great.
Removes being able to do damage after missing a shot, and instead only deals damage when hitting enemies. But hey, in return, your projectiles fly a lot faster, which makes it easier to hit them. The loose cannon allows you to fuse the pipes before shooting them, making it harder to use, but dealing a lot more damage if you time it correctly. The 4th option is the iron bomber. The explosion radius is a lot smaller, but the pipes don't roll when you miss them anymore, and instead just stay in place. They are all very small changes to the weapon, but big enough to encourage a different playstyle, which makes...
Yeah, no, this is exactly what I was talking about with PvZ skins just a little bit earlier. This is the same in concept, which makes me think the game is even more inspired by TF2 than I realized initially.
Simply switching it.
And it makes me even sadder because that game looks fucking awesome, it plays awesome, and it feels so awesome. Why did they fucking abandon it, man?
Nade launcher to another launcher, a very fresh experience. But again, there is a layer. You can also switch from a nade launcher to a pair of boots. Yes, you heard that right. You can wear boots. Isn't that
yes.
Nice? Jokes aside, the boots are to choose if you want to dive into demo subclass. The beauty of the characters in TF2 is that they have subclasses. By switching your primary to a pair of boots,
I had no idea.
Your secondary to a shield, and your melee to a sword, or even the bottle for that matter, you become a demo knight. The boots and shield gives you more HP, and the shield also allows you to dash into the enemies, which does damage and provides more mobility. From the multiple shields you can choose, one is particularly fun. The Tide Turner allows you to have full control of your mouse when charging forward. This allows you to trim, a technique which I'm not even sure how it works, but you basically can jump off slopes and fly through the sky towards your enemies. It's a bit tricky to learn, but once you have it mastered, every map simply turns into your playground. There are players so good at trimping that they literally fly from one side of the map to the other in one charge. It's amazing.
Bro, if I played this game, this would be all I do. And plus, I like melee more than... I like not having to aim a gun anyways.
It has so many layers to the playstyle, and I would love to talk about
No, I bet this is difficult as
for many more hours. But for the sake of not derailing even further from the topic, allow me...
I mean, we're tangent gods here, right? I don't mind.
Explain why TF2 is a one-of-a-kind game. And that answer is simply the interactions and how you're able to express yourself.
Alright, chapter 2 of the video. You know what we watched so far? I think I can actually say that this is like the best crafted educational video we watched so far. I mean, I know we've seen like Internet Historian and stuff, but his style of video is completely different, right? There's a lot more emphasis on humor and whatnot, whereas this one is like, it just makes me feel like I am learning so much. This is just really well made. We reacted to a few other videos that are like the same idea where you just watch it to learn something new, but none of them felt as well made as this one so far. I'm really enjoying this.
And that answer is simply the interactions and how you're able to express yourself. I know TF2 is often regarded as a head simulator, but that joke is actually why TF2 is so darn good. The insane amount of cosmetics to choose from allows you to kind of cosplay your character.
I actually really like that they made the cosmetics super in line with how the character looks, so you can from a glance tell what class you're looking at. That is super smart, man. Like Dota, I mean, for games like Dota, it doesn't matter as much because in Dota, it's really hard to get characters confused. But in a shooter game, this makes so much sense.
Character, however you want to be. This is the Heavy. Awesome class with awesome deeper layers that I won't get into. But he doesn't look awesome right now. Let's make him what I think is cool. Wow, very nice. But giving your character cool cosmetics is nothing special. Every nowadays game has cosmetics in a game for the players to buy and them to get rich.
Bro, if he talks about the consistency of cosmetics within how the character looks, basically what I just talked about, I am actually the smartest man alive. And please like the video again. If you haven't liked my video already, unlike it and then like it again just to show how smart I am.
2, it's different. The economy in Team Fortress 2 is quite frankly dead. By the economy being dead means getting all your classes decked out in your favorite cosmetics costs less than even $2.
What the fuck? That is so awesome.
The best amount of cosmetics in the game allow you to cosplay as basically anything you want, like the Sleepy Heavy, the Heavy Lifter, or if you like JoJo,
Bro, buying every item in Dota would cost you literally, like, your entire life savings. What the fuck is
Brando, the Christmas bird, and so on. And let me tell you,
that is
playing
crazy.
against
Like,
this
actually.
or this is a completely different experience. The cosmetics a player wears will tell you immediately what kind of player it is. If I see the sleepy heavy walking around, even though he is an enemy, I know he's friendly. Even on the official servers, you will 10 out of 10 times find friendly players just goofing about having dinner or enjoying the view of the newer players struggling to kill the sweatier one. When you as a player get to fully express whatever you want to be in a safe, fun environment, you have one of the best games ever made.
Bro, that shit is so rare in most games. In most games, if you try to be cool, they'll just be like, oh yes, I'm cool with you. And then the moment you turn around, they shoot you in the ass.
This
is so sad.
Reason, and there are still many others.
Now, granted, I think it's partially because Team Fortress 2 doesn't really have any stakes for losing. I mean, you just lose the game. Whereas, like the game where I'm thinking of as an example is the Cycle Frontier, which is like a Tarkov style game. It means if you die, people take your gear permanently. So, like, killing someone is just super rewarding in that game. So I can 100% see why. I can 100% see why in that game that is much more of a problem than this one.
Team Fortress 2 is so amazing. And now we have the problem. Valve. They developed this gem of a game, and I'm eternally grateful how they created this casual, free-to-play game. But the way they treat it right now is a huge mistake, and
as in they don't.
Honestly, just straight up disrespectful. Unless you've been living
right.
Under
I'm guessing they don't, because that's how Valve. That's the Valve approach. Now, granted, I haven't been keeping up with Team Fortress, so I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, I'm guessing that what they do is nothing, and that's the problem.
You're probably aware of the bot issue. What if I told you that out of the 100,000 concurrent players playing right now, that about 1/3 of them are bots?
Not as bad as MMOs, let's be honest. When you look at Source is also just 50k plus bots. Okay, yeah, that sounds kind of bad, but like very real. Still pretty good, like compared to some MMOs where you can use bots to make actual money. This is fine.
And not the harmless bots that idle for drops in AFK servers, which they exist too, but bots that spew racial slurs, hate crime, and
what?
And other horrible things at everyone in the server, while blatantly spin-botting, crit hacking, which is a hacking method to always do 3 times the amount of damage you would normally do, and kicking the real players from the game.
That is
I am not making this up. If you play on an official server, which most
oh my god, that is such a loser move.
You can get kicked from your own game. On top of that, they steal your profile picture and name, so you can no longer identify who's the bot and who's the real player in the kick menu.
Fuck.
And they join servers at once in big groups, so you no longer have the majority to vote them out.
So they are bots, so they do all this shit automatically as well, right?
It has gotten
or are they
so
just
bad
hackers?
That the bot hosters coded the bots in a way that if they meet another bot in the opposite team, that they won't kill each other. It's ridiculous. And let's not forget the real players.
Wait, so the game... Let me get this straight. The game has such a horseshit anti-cheat that it lets you get a full-on automatically controlled bot, and 33,000 of them at least at that. What?
I would say around 5% of the non-bot players on official servers are straight up wall hacking, ping abusing, or aimbotting. This is why Team Fortress 2 sucks.
See, okay, we'll look back on a game like Cycle. On that one, because of how high the stakes are, any amount of cheaters is instantly super detrimental. Imagine you're running a set of gear that you spent like 5 hours farming for, right? Like purple armor and this exotic, like, which is like red gun, you know, super rare rarities. You're running your legendary kit, you're fucking, and then some hacker just uses the shittiest gun in the game to insta kill you to the head, like it was some hack that unloads the whole mag. That would be demoralizing as fuck, and it's been a problem in that game in the Cycle forever. And the way they developed a whole ass new anti-cheat department, which is like a pretty large percentage of the devs that work on that game, just straight up dedicated to developing new anti-cheat methods. And one of them, which is super cool, is cheater compensation. What that means is if you die to a hacker or a cheater, you get all your gear back and some cash on top of that. Sometimes it even ends up being profitable, because like you could be in a situation where you're about to die to a different player, to a real one, and then you get killed by a cheater and you end up getting your gear back from the cheater kill. And straight up, nowadays, when I die to a cheater in that game, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, they're gonna get reported. I'll get my gear back. This is gonna be, like, I don't get pissed anymore. They handled it so well, and they're a pretty, like, relatively small company. I think they have 130 or 140 devs or something like that. Valve is way bigger, and they have no excuse for not fixing this shit. If a smaller dev team could do it, then so can Valve.
And there is no one else to blame than Valve. Valve has their own anti-cheat, called VAC, with VAC, which
okay, talking about anti-cheat for Valve, it works really well in Dota. Now, granted, I do not know why that is, but Dota anti-cheat is pretty much fucking perfect. I mean, there are a few minor, like, exploits and shit people use, and some hacks that some streamers have been caught using, but it's really, like, not a real problem in Dota. Like, when you run into one, you're like, holy shit, last time I saw a guy scripting. Even scripting is rare in that game.
Stands for It Doesn't Work, or Valve Anti-Cheat. Now, I don't know where all the billions...
Now, the best thing about the Valve Anti-Cheat, VAC, is the term getting VAC banned. When that happens, you're like, my account is fucked, because they have Steam as well. So they, you know, it actually works surprisingly well in that way, because getting VAC banned, it's your Steam account, it's gone. Now, this is a free game, so what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, just go create a new account. Oh no.
Valve makes
and they have to spend another $2 to buy all the new cosmetics on a new account. Oh no, that's so punishing. The fucking cheat cost more to buy than that.
But they certainly aren't going to where they should go. The flaws of their anti-cheat shouldn't come as a surprise for the CSGO players though, as they also get the same treatment for their game. Though, to be honest, it's about 7 million times better optimized for CSGO. But still a major issue in the higher ranks nonetheless.
That's
Valve
so sad.
Makes the best games ever, but their inability to maintain the multiplayer game.
Yes, exactly. They just don't. They create the game and then they're like, okay, game done. See ya, guys, in the next live.
From being known as the best game company ever to a lazy, money-grabbing tech store.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, almost forgot. This
don't talk about Ubisoft.
Story actually gets worse. The real problem why Iron others despise Valve, so after enjoying all their games for so many years, is simply because of their horrible communication.
Yes.
Or rather, no communication. Check this out. Your game hasn't gotten a major update for 1930 days. Out of nowhere, Valve stopped making content, making comics, making cinematics, basically stopped creating anything TF2 related. And the only updates the TF2 players get are community-made skins in gambling cases.
By the way, can I just say how right I was in my prediction about what Valve
makes money from? Around 1600 days ago, the TF2 community started to ask already,
so just do it again.
Of what is going on. No response. Then, 1500 days later, public figures like Pyrocynical, RT Game, Mutahar, and even Linus Tech Tips started to post about it, and put social pressure on Valve to log into their Twitter account for the first time in 3 years. Which Valve did.
Fuck.
And they posted, TF2 community.
We hear you.
We love this game and we know you do too. We see how large this issue has become and we are working to improve things.
I wonder what they did after that tweet happened.
They were practically radio silent for 3 years about anything community related. And left the players for 4 years without a single content update. And finally, they said something. The community was in tears.
Yeah,
finally,
naturally.
Something that we can look forward to.
Hey, look at Jacksepticeye went with a W.
Valve
Holy.
is doing something for our beautiful
game.
Oh,
these are all massive people. Wow.
They finally.
I did not realize how many popular people play this.
Listened. Anyway, that is the last message they ever posted on their Twitter account.
That's exactly what I was getting. I just started playing
no longer spam in chat
soundtrack.
that they've already been killing.
Stop.
At the cost of...
I alt-tabbed accidentally, god damn it.
Anyone who doesn't spend money in their overpriced game store not being able to chat in game. Yep, if you are free to play, you can no longer chat in game.
Insane. Okay, they fixed the hack, guys. Nobody's cheating anymore. You can't chat in game on a free account. Nobody's cheating anymore, guys. Woo! World crisis averted.
Bravo, Valve. Just bravo. Learn from the mistake of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself.
Yep.
And this isn't only true, but also a great business strategy to maximize your own success.
Yes.
Companies that make mistakes, like Valve, are aware of the wrongdoings. Those who were, or still are with Valve since they made TF2 16 years ago, are as disappointed with the state of the game as their loyal fanbases.
That makes sense.
The truth is, by abandoning TF2, Valve, or rather the decision makers at Valve, aren't economically getting punished here. And in nowadays society, where seemingly everything exists just to make money, Valve just doesn't care.
Yeah. Man.
But the mistake Valve made can't be fixed with money. They lost all respect and support from the gaming community, and are now...
No, I think you can gain respect back. Let's take a look at No Man's Sky. Everyone respects the game now. They released in a horrible state, and granted, I don't think it was entirely their fault, but that's a different matter. And nowadays, people actually like the game, and they respect the devs behind it. And I'm sure if they made a new game, they would start out with initial support. Now, granted, if the new game they made was boring, everyone would forget about it within like a week. But I still think the No Man's Sky fans are loyal, and they're pretty happy with the company themselves, even though they started out as like super negative. So I do think that is not quite true. You can make a comeback as a company. You just have to commit to the comeback. You can't just go do one nice thing and then fuck off to go.
Known as a game company who doesn't care about their own games and only about selling other people's games. Valve, please fix.
It's a problem. Okay, that is a very interesting point. I don't know how true that is, but I do think. I wonder if them running Steam negatively affects, like, how many workers do they have? Can they not just get more people to work on the games? Do they have to take people away from Steam to have more people working on Dota and V Story? What the fuck is V Story? I just made a new game up. I'm at Team Fortress. V Story. That doesn't exist. I actually just made a new game up. What the fuck? Now, okay, this one.
Another company
this one's. I fucking all tapped again. I'm gonna close
Ubisoft.
that second tab.
Now, recent
Ubisoft is so much worse than Valve at this. They keep making new games that are the same game, and it's
been mediocre at best. But that's not what the mistake I want to mention is about. It's about how they progressed, or dare I call it progressed, throughout the years with their competitive shooter, Rainbow Six Siege. Siege is currently in its 27th operation. To avoid confusion, an operation is basically a fancy word for season.
Okay.
The game was really fun, fast-paced, and also intuitive, taking the settled 5v5 game standard we have seen in titles like Call of Duty and in Counter-Strike in a more tactical environment. The game wasn't perfect, but by it being in year one, you can tell...
Wow, I mean, we're clearly looking at completely different games here, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it's evolved as much as Fortnite visually. I mean, you can clearly tell...
that things like the oversaturation of the outside...
You know, this just makes me think... This just makes me realize that Fortnite is a good game. As much as I hate to admit it, like, it's a well-made... good game that keeps evolving, and they're doing all the right things with their marketing, both marketing and updates. And why can't some other games get the same treatment? That's all I ask for.
Hitbox issues and smaller aspects like the unpolished movement when vaulting were definitely things that needed to be fixed in the upcoming updates. Skipping 2 years later, we arrive in the best season Rainbow has ever seen, Parabellum. In the 5 skipped operations, we had one entirely dedicated to fixing issues in the game.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Operation Health, which fixed almost all the issues the game had. Parabellum introduced us to a fun new map called Villa, which is still popular to this day. And like every season before, we got 2 new operators. This time, because of the previous...
But you know, this guy did tease that something goes wrong, so I'm guessing that this is the last we see of the game doing the right thing.
Previous season, we got 2 defenders. Maestro, a slower operator with the first light machine gun on defense, not to mention a magnified scope, and also not to mention bulletproof cameras that can tase people to death, and Alibi, a speedy operator with a faster shooting, lower damage.
I like the thing with cameras. I generally like being able to place turrets and shit in games, and I play Summoner in Terraria. That's just my preferred class. The class where instead of doing things yourself, you place down... You have others do your work for you.
Gun.
You know, maybe I just like slavery. Take that that out of the video. That's a joke, obviously.
And an ability that spawns fake versions of her. And also not to mention...
That is the edgiest shit I've said on this channel. Holy fuck.
Both of them had an alternative weapon, which was basically a drum mag fully automatic shotgun. What not to like about it?
That's so cool. I love the destruction physics. I didn't even know this game had that.
They also reworked the map Clubhouse, which was previously kind of meh, and turned it into one of their best maps even 4 years later.
Fuck yeah.
They also introduced a system that still shines to this day, which is the operator pick and ban system. All these changes were awesome and only reinforced the direction that players wanted the game to go. Unfortunately, 3 months later,
Man, low time to kill games are wild. As a cycle player, seeing people die in one hit is like, what? One headshot is a kill? Bro, in cycle, there's a single gun that can kill you in one headshot, and to use it, you have to fully charge your shot. You can only aim down with it with an 8x scope or go no scope and probably miss your shot. It is... I love it. I love it. I think low time to kill games should be more prevalent. Take a look at Apex, for example. Apex works pretty well. Yeah, I'm switching the topic before you
move on
notice how shit I am at pronouncing things.
Grim Sky. Grim Sky wasn't a bad season, but you could tell just looking at the patch notes that Ubisoft started to push the game into a different direction.
Okay.
Out of the two...
I mean, it's not necessarily bad. I think games do need to change eventually because players get bored. The game needs to evolve into something different eventually. Otherwise, you'll have the same game that's just more refined and polished, and that is cool to an extent, and it's always good to make a game more polished, but if there's no new content or the game doesn't keep changing, you'll eventually just be like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired of doing the same exact shit over and over again. Yes, it's maybe more fluid and maybe the experience is better, but it's still the same shit over and over again.
2 operators added. One of them is called Clash.
That said, there are people who play Team Fortress, and that game hasn't seen any change in its entire runtime from what I understand, so fuck if I know.
This bald angry woman, by the way, perfectly represents my emotions towards Ubisoft. Clash was different. She was a defender with her main weapon to be a shield. She was made to stand in door frames or in open rooms, shocking the opponents with her shield to slow them down.
That sounds interesting.
She also had a gun as a secondary, but she could only use it when she unequipped her shield. Not to mention the gun choices
that's stupid.
where there are...
Alright, that's stupid. Being able to only use your gun when you're not using your main weapon.
It doesn't take a genius to understand
or your shield.
That playing as or playing against Clash just isn't fun.
Yeah, okay, that actually is a good point. You should... Maybe the hero, even if the character isn't stronger or weaker than others, like it has the same win rate on average and all that, that doesn't mean it's a good character. It could be well balanced, technically, but if it isn't fun to play as or against, it will make everyone fucking wanna die.
This bald woman wasn't Parabellum Siege. Clash started something, and the players felt it coming. Anyway, the season was by all means still enjoyable.
Yeah, I said changes are good, but that doesn't mean all changes are good.
And Clash was banned most of the time anyway. Moving on to the next season, we get...
Oh yeah, you can ban heroes, and he literally mentioned that like
the next step in the wrong direction. Operation Wind Bastion. This operation still haunts the community to this day. Allow me to explain. For the mistakes in this season, we can't only blame Ubisoft, but also the players who exploited the game. Not exploiting by being a cheater, that is a horrible pest that happens around Tier 6, and by the way is still an issue in Year 7, but exploiting with skins. See, in every season, Ubisoft releases a bundle with camouflage-themed skins. In Operation Wind...
I don't even have to explain why that's bad. I'm sure you guys know where this is going.
Bastion, they also got introduced.
Oh,
this is what they look like. Okay, here comes the issue. Can you spot the enemy? Here she...
No way, that's so pay to win. Holy fuck, that's bad. That is so bad. If that was an intentional game mechanic, like I could 100% see that being cool, because I think camo as a game mechanic is quite underutilized. I mean, like the most intense version I've seen of it is being a bush in Fortnite. So this is cool in theory, but if that's not what the game is about, and these skins are paid to win, oh my god, no, that is so bad. I don't. Oh no.
Guy? All right, one more.
Oh
How about
god.
now? Okay, I'm just taking the piss now, but you see the issue. They made skins that basically turn you invisible when playing on half the maps in the game. The community immediately responded that they hated it and that it ruined the first-person shooter aspect of the game.
And as a player of the game, as much as you will hate this mechanic, you will use it because you'd be stupid not to use the best tactic available. That's metas exist for a reason.
Turned every match into a hide-and-seek game. Now, as opposed to Valve,
or rather, people follow metas for a reason.
Actually responded relatively quickly. It only took 3 months of crying for them to respond.
Actually, not bad. For them to respond or for them to change it. That's what I want to know.
Was that it's now banned in Pro League.
I mean, guys, as you know, Pro League is the, like, you know, the 2%, or sorry, like the 0.1% of our entire game's population. That's who we're worried about. Fuck yeah, I love when game companies do that. Dota is a huge fucking outlier in that regard as well. They love optimizing the game for pro play and then not giving a shit about pubs, and then this is bringing out so much internal rage.
Great news for the 60 people that are playing professionally.
Exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, it's great news for the 60. What the fuck are they doing?
But how about the hundreds of thousands of players that aren't in Pro League? See, this is the issue with Ubisoft. They only care about two things: esports and money.
Mainly.
In the following 2 years, they continue to release and allow these overpriced broken skins to terrorize the gaming community and made big buck from selling them.
This is so cringe, man. If that was the
only mistake they made, that would not be too bad. But let me explain how they balance their guns and their characters. Let's say you have two playable characters to choose from. One does 50 damage per hit and is really fun to play because he's fast.
Okay.
And the other one does 30 damage, and aside from being bad, is also super slow and in general a chunky character.
Yo, yeah. Oh, well, I'm choosing the left guy. And I think everyone is.
Obviously, this isn't very balanced. And everyone who likes to have a good time will end up playing the fun and better character A. The balancing team of this game knows that people love character A. And not just because of the damage, but because it just feels fun to play.
Yep.
So the perfectly normal balancing team,
instead of improving character B, will nerf character A to the ground and make him less fun, because guess what? Fun doesn't matter. It's all about fucking balance. This is literally the point I was talking about with the shield character a minute ago. I am so smart. I am literally the smartest person. Well, I don't actually know if that's what he says, but I bet it is.
And says, okay, let's nerf character A.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it.
30 damage. And leave everything else about him untouched. Also buff character B to 40 damage per hit, and to make something so he's fun to play as well. Problem solved. Now we have Ubisoft's balancing team. See, Ubisoft's balancing team likes to play golf. And just like in golf, they want to reach their goal with the least numbers of steps taken. And they
just nerfed this one.
They nerf character A's movement speed to super slow. So
I'm so smart. I am literally the smartest person alive, guys. Please like the video and subscribe.
The character no longer feels responsive like character B.
This video feels so good to watch.
From 50 to 30, and call it a day.
And now we have two boring and shitty heroes. That's what we like to see. Man, you know what pissed me off so much? When Dota went and they took Arc Warden, and instead of nerfing him or trying to balance him out in a way that made... Okay, actually, we need a bunch of context here, because for most people this will make no sense unless you play the game. There's a character in Dota which has the ability to travel all across the... or which has the ability to create an identical clone of himself, which is equally strong. Now, what made him OP is that the character was able to send that copy of himself somewhere else and farm money and whatnot with the clone, or fight real players with the clone risk-free while farming money himself. And there's like, okay, that's bad. We don't want you to be super strong and kill people. So instead of, I don't know, reducing his damage or just making him weak enough where a single clone isn't enough to fight a person, and yet make him good enough to be able to still farm money with a clone, what they did instead is made it so the clone deals 50% less damage while it's away from you. And you know what that does? That makes it so the clone can physically not fight people when it's far away anymore, because it's guaranteed to basically die unless you're ridiculously overfarmed compared to the enemies and are way 10 times stronger. That is so much fun, guys. I love fun game design.
The overpowered fun character to the same level as the
Yeah, I didn't expect this to be another video where I just complain about shit, but I am so glad it is.
The powered boring character.
Being angry is like my favorite thing. I mean, if it wasn't, I wouldn't be a Dota player.
This
or a cycle player.
Is balanced on paper.
Yeah, exactly. It's balanced on
paper. But what they truly did is make everyone's favorite character as bad as the other one. So they are both equally bad and both aren't fun to play. This is Ubisoft's idea of balancing their guns and operators. They have a fun character.
I should also mention that for the Dota scenario I talked about earlier, they did actually increase the numbers on the character so that while technically having the same win rate, like, they made the character less fun to play because now you don't have two identical heroes. You have one weak version of the other, but it's only weak when it's far away and whatnot. But to make up for it, they're now a little bit stronger, so it's technically you still have the same win rate, but it doesn't feel the same. You're playing...
She's fast, has fun guns, has 2 explosive grenades to destroy utility with,
but
unfortunately also has a basically useless ability. Yet IQ's pick rate is above average.
Because it's really fun. Yeah, sure.
Understandable, really. Everyone would rather play a faster character rather than a slower one.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Balancer, what would you do? Would you change?
As a Ubisoft balancer? Yeah, so let's become Ubisoft. We're Ubisoft, okay? I think the fast character should only be able to throw 1 grenade. We should nerf the useless ability, and actually, I think let's slow her down.
Change everyone to be more like IQ, which the players love, but requires considerable effort. Or B, nerf IQ to be more like the underpicked rest. Yep, that's another hole-in-one for Ubisoft. Nerfed. Next season, we have another fast and fun character overpicked. Unacceptable. Goodbye, Sophia.
Alright, let's do the Ubisoft, right? Okay, alright, can we coin a new term? Pulling Ubisoft? Which means exactly what we just talked about. Not gonna describe it again.
Now we have Buck. Sledge.
This actually makes me so this makes me so angry that I'm not even like able to shout anymore or anything. I'm just depressed now.
Everyone's favorite defender. Continue this for a couple more years for a solid cake foundation. And as a cherry on top, in one of the recent operations, they removed all the fun magnified scopes from basically anyone who has a pick rate that isn't negative.
Maybe add the fun magnified scopes to the heroes that don't have them instead, because clearly people like them. But no, because that would make the character stronger, and to fix that you have to nerf them, and that's too much work.
And voila! You ruined every character in your game and made everyone equally weak and slow.
Fuck yes! That's what I wanted to see! Man, I knew shit was gonna be bad, but I didn't realize it was gonna be that bad. This video makes me so angry in the best way possible. Like, I am loving this video, but I'm hating what he's talking about. This is such
a cherry on top. When they suddenly remade all the recoil patterns for every gun, like Ubisoft does, they absolutely demolished the recoil of all the popular guns.
No, I mean, why wouldn't you? Actually, you know, I kind of like when the recoil patterns for guns change, because I think it's a fun learning curve it's as weird as it's gonna sound. I kind of enjoy using a gun for a while and starting out being unable to land a single hit and then eventually becoming good with it. That said, making the recoil unplayable on popular guns is an absolute piece of shit move. Don't do that, please.
Boom. Now it's the perfect game.
Okay. Is there going to be a cherry on top?
Week, very monotone to play. And the passionate player base despises you for nerfing their main agent for a solid 3 years in a row.
Sick.
But we aren't done yet, folks. We are talking about Ubisoft here after all.
I knew it.
As a cherry
I knew it!
In the newest season, when ADS'd, you are now as slow as the slowest operators in the game. No matter your character's base speed.
No, not sure.
They successfully turned Siege from a first-person shooter with hero elements to a tactical game with shooter elements. The players who started playing the game anywhere before...
I'll go back for a few seconds because he had a little chess piece right above my head here.
Tactical game with shooter elements. The players who started playing the game anywhere before year 3, and to remind you, we are now approaching year 8, witnessed their favorite fast-paced tactical shooter transition into a chess-like tactical game. It's now all about what ability to pick to counter the enemy's utility.
Fucking sad. This could be a fun game in and of itself if that's what you want. But this is not what the game is. It went from one thing to another, and it did so in the most boring way imaginable.
One of the characters we just like to play. And why? because of their vision for esports. When balancing things, they more often than not look at the pro scene of their game, and not the high-ranked casual players. Their goal for the game is to be a game like Ready or Not, where you have to carefully play together to clear the build.
Yeah, Ready or Not is clearly an awesome game. The way I know that is because I've never fucking heard of it. Striving to be like a game that is unpopular is just like what okay, let me check. Wow, average players 3,000. Bro, Ubisoft, you're doing such a great job striving to be like a game with 3,000 average players. Well done, I'm sure.
Building. And you can even notice that vision back when they showed the game at E3. All the players played slow, closely together, and extremely tactical. Ubisoft's wet dream. Unfortunately for Ubisoft, it's not about what they want, it's about what the majority of the player base wants. They crave the faster-paced game they had in Parabellum, not the chess.org game that Ubisoft imagines.
And again, that could be a good game existing on its own as a separate thing, for example. But like that game already exists, so why are you making it? Oh, that's from a different video. The Ready or Not already exists. Why are you making Ready or Not again? And I get that maybe you want to make a better version of it, but don't bait players in with. Like, don't have players start out with a specific type of gameplay. They come for one thing, and you deliver another. That is just, you know what that's called? That's called a scam.
Valve simply didn't communicate with the Team Fortress 2 players. But Ubisoft did worse by forcing their own view onto their frustrated players.
That's called false advertisement, but in the technical advertisement, they actually did show the game being slow, so I can't even fucking legally complain about it.
If you are brand new to Siege, it's not weird that you'll like it, or even have it as your go-to game.
Yeah, exactly, because if you're new, then you came for what you saw in the trailer, which is people moving around slowly, and you play, and you move around slowly as a team of, like, you do what you wanted to do in the game. But as an old school player, seeing your game turn into something that it was not initially, which is fine in and of itself, so long as it's a positive improvement that everyone likes, which is clearly not.
It's completely understandable, as you never played the good old version of Siege. But for the millions of players who played around Parabellum, they were forced to adapt or move on from their beloved game.
And guess what I would choose? I'd choose to move the fuck on.
And just like this mistake, there were many others. Like suddenly announcing they are from next operation onwards, only releasing one operator in return for a new fancy gameplay element, which the players didn't see the light of day of till 2 years later.
Wow.
Or how about the overly strict matchmaking restrictions, which means you can basically no longer play ranked with your friends anymore.
Wait, oh, that's so stupid. I hate this shit. I hate this shit so much. I'm so glad Dota doesn't do this.
Or the fact that even right now, in year 7, you cannot play a game in the higher ranks without meeting a cheater. Did I mention that year 8 is around the corner, and the servers still go down every other day? Or how about it took ages to unnecessarily rework the community's favorite meme operator?
Oh, it's this guy from the I do not know why I'm here. All I know is that I don't remember.
Tachanka, and only made him worse than before. That's like changing Teemo in League of Legends and then making him even worse. But Ubisoft's biggest mistake by a mile is forcing an idea they had initially from launch onto a game that was going in an insanely healthy way. Valve doesn't notice too much about their punishment.
That's a good point. That's a good point. The game is doing great. You know what we need to do? Put it down!
But Ubisoft is a different story. Their oh so desired esports scene is basically dead. During their most recent major...
Yeah, if they're looking at money and if they have analytic people that are supposed to look at money and see what's bringing in the cash, then maybe they'll notice that it's the normal fucking player base doing it. And I bet they do have a team. But maybe they don't have a say. We'll never know. We'll never know because we don't work at Ubisoft. We don't know how that shit is managed. But whoever is the organizer and whoever makes the decisions is fucking stupid. Fire him and get a new guy.
Hoping there was an average of 45,000.
Man, I'm getting passionate about a game that I don't even give a shit about. This
people watching. To give you an idea on how insanely bad that is, during the CSGO major in Antwerp in 2022, CSGO averaged on 586,000 viewers. with a whopping 2.1 million peak during the finals. The finals in Siege peaked with only 121,000 viewers.
This is sad.
On top of their esports scene failing, they are also failing.
I mean, hey, you know how I can tell that the esports scene for this game is not very big? It's by the fact that I've never heard of it.
In the player base numbers, with over half of the players gone in just 3 years.
Well, okay, that's not too unusual. Because, yeah, I think that's fine generally. Hard to say. Well, no, it's not fine. It would be, the player base initially is basically guaranteed to diminish after release for the next like year or so. But then it will stabilize at a point, and then it can go back up, or well, not back. It could go up with a slightly new, like with the new players, or the old ones coming back, or it can go down with less new players coming in and all players leaving. And so in the initial year, you basically your game is guaranteed to have a downward slope for at least a while, because unless you get really lucky or do some super smart move, like I'm sure it happens, but it's rare. But initially, your game is basically guaranteed to go down. But this game is old, and that's why it's a problem, because it went this, and then like okay, so we have this graph, and it goes, wow, new game released, very popular. Okay, slightly less popular because people who got the game and didn't know what it was now left, and then it's still slowly dwindling over time. That is sad, and as a player of that game, you will see those player numbers going down, and you yourself will want to stop playing it, because you're like, well, what's the point in learning how to get good at this game if it's declining anyways? A dying game is like a mentality. It's a mental state.
We should be happy that when a company makes mistakes that have been made by countless others in the past, that they're actually punished where it hurts them the most.
Yes.
Their wallet. I don't like to cheer on Siege's downfall. It's a game I treasure as part of my youth.
Yeah, exactly. It's, oh fuck yeah! What a chat. Seriously. Because I talked about having a lot of hours played in a lot of different games, and I was hoping this guy would have as many as me. Yeah, it's sad because you want the devs to be punished for making stupid decisions, but it also punishes you because your favorite game goes downhill, and it's like it is a by the books double-edged sword.
I played it so much.
Yeah, it's a by the books double-edged sword situation. Actually, like I've never heard of a better. I can't think of a better context for it.
Just downfall.
For that phrase.
It's a game I testing multiple seasons of my youth, and I played it so much that I even went semi-pro, contesting multiple seasons with the best of the best.
It isn't like crazy.
The times I went to LAN events are one of the best moments in my life. Unfortunately, you can only let something disappoint you so much before you have to let it go.
Yes, and it's sad.
In the case of Siege and Team Fortress 2, the player base is steadily declining. The players of those games are upset with how they've been treated, and finally realized that the frustrations from playing their favorite game are not worth their time anymore. There is one company, however, that has a player base so loyal that if they would burn down their family house
because I can't read fucking
kick them in the balls,
Japanese,
they would still happily play their games. Konnichiwa Nintendo.
Oh yeah, I was like, is it Nintendo? I don't know. It is.
Nintendo's case, they don't do one particular game dirty, but rather all of them. Nintendo has been making awesome games since 1975, with titles like Mario.
But yeah, they make these one-time release and forget about games. Like they make solo games that are a single experience you're supposed to play for once and forget about largely. Not okay. Far from always, but largely.
The Super Smash Bros. Series and The Legend of Zelda engraved in our early memories. One thing that differentiates Nintendo from Valve and Ubisoft is that their products are tied to their own hardware, like the Nintendo DS, the Switch, the Wii, or...
Super cringe, by the way, please. I want to play a lot of... There are a few Nintendo games that I want to play, and I can't because it's locked to a Switch. Guess what? I'm never buying your game, because I'm not about to get a Switch just to play one of your stupid fucking games. I would buy your game if I could do it on computer, on computer, what, grammar, but I can't, so I will never be playing your fucking, no, you know what, I will be pirating your game, bitch.
And literally every single one of them allowed for a fun gaming experience. But just like Valve, Nintendo is focused on the future. And with roughly every 5 years passed, they release a new game console for their fans to consume. The GameCube released in 2001 and came with many banger games, like Super Mario Sunshine, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, not to mention the competitive game Super Smash Bros. Melee. Unfortunately, if you want to play those games in the current day and age, you can't. Well, that's not true, you kind of can.
You have to simulate or emulate.
Somehow still have a working GameCube and those games. If you do not own the console and the games, and you still play them in a different way, and Daddy Nintendo finds out about it,
they are gonna whoop your ass difficult. Nintendo is super strict with their shit.
I kid you not, they will strike you down. Nintendo is a company that for some reason only wants things.
They hate their fans. Nintendo despises. There is no one Nintendo hates more than people who like their game.
Done with them in control. If you, dare I say it, emulate the game, you are at risk of Nintendo taking action.
Yes.
If you are a smaller individual, that is not too big of an issue.
But as a content creator,
and Nintendo will probably never find out. But if you are a content creator, or
I like that this guy says exactly what I'm
even worse, host a cheerful...
Oh, I remember that, yeah. Someone hosted like a Nintendo party, like a thing where a bunch of people were supposed to compete, but... and they emulated, and Nintendo took that whole fucking thing down. Now, granted, what I said was the worst way to describe it because I have the memory of a slug, and as you know, as I would guess, slugs have shit memories.
Event for Nintendo enthusiasts to come together, and you do not use official licensed Nintendo games and consoles, they will take legal action.
It's so fucking cringe and stupid. And I'm using the word cringe in the literal definition. Like, it makes me go, oh, what the fuck are you guys doing, man? What is this silly business, man? What the...
They take legal action against their own fans.
Yeah.
The GameCube game Super...
They hate their fans more than anyone else.
Smash Bros. Melee has a very loving and passionate community that still plays grand tournaments together in offline locations.
Yes.
You would think having an esports scene for one of your games that you put absolutely no effort into creating is something awesome for the future of your company.
Yeah, it's literally free money.
And you would be eternally grateful that your fans are carrying it. Well, again, I'm not kidding. Nintendo did not only deny the Smash World Tour's request for an official Nintendo licensed tournament, but they also never funded any prize pool or expenses that the organizers made for Nintendo's game. In some cases, they even shut down entire non-profit tournaments of their games.
Yeah, and it's actually the most out of touch management thing ever. I don't want to talk about it too long because that's a whole video in and of itself, how out of touch Nintendo is. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to make a video about that, but it is a problem.
And if that wasn't bad enough, let me quickly list some other things Nintendo does to torture their fans.
Let's go.
In multiple cases, fans have come together to make a free-to-play adaptation of Nintendo's abandoned games.
Yep.
And all they got from Nintendo was a cease and desist letter. An adult entertainer who had Pokey in her username got an email from Nintendo that she has to change her username or she would get striked.
Because, you know, Pokey kind of sounds like pocket monsters. I get it. It's a reference to Pokemon. That is the dumbest shit I have ever heard. That is so fucking stupid.
Nintendo set up an entire lawsuit and sued a guy in Vermont for selling a N64 on eBay for $25. Sorry, I just can't keep a straight face reading all of this. They also forced YouTubers up to recently to give up 40% of their ad revenue if they featured any kind of Nintendo game.
Oh, guys, it gets so much worse. I don't know if you've heard of the Point Go situation, guys, and he's not alone, and it is... It is just so, Nintendo. I hate Nintendo so much,
most
man.
Discouraging and dumbest business strategy I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But worst of all, and this is actually not even funny, they sued a man called Matthew Storman for simply distributing their outdated, unavailable games for a whopping $2.1 million. They practically ruined one of their fans' entire life and chances for a future because he made a website where you can download games like Mario Sunshine.
Because... Okay, so you're that guy, right? And you're thinking, okay, you know what? Nintendo made their old game unavailable, and I love that game. And Nintendo clearly doesn't anymore, because they're not even giving us a way to buy it without doing anything sus or illegal. Or, you know, they're not... Nintendo decided that they don't want to sell this game. And clearly, they're not gonna reboot the console for it. Okay, you know what? I'll just give it to you guys for free. No!
That aren't available anywhere else.
Fuck you!
Because of Nintendo.
Fuck you for even thinking that's a good idea.
Get erased from history than distributing it elsewhere. And Nintendo doesn't even hide their malicious intents, as they have the audacity to now even sue them again for not being able to pay up quick enough. You cannot make this stuff up. Nintendo has become a ruthless dictator. And while their games are really, really good, an ever-growing part of the community can't enjoy...
Imagine if every person that ever made pirated versions of games suddenly got sued for $2 million. How many people's lives would be ruined? That is just insane. That is insane.
The games anymore, knowing the horrible things they did to their passionate fans. If a company ruins someone's life, once again, imagine if that were you, that person
ruins someone's life for liking a game, mind you, man. And they are legally in the right to do it. That is the worst part. It sucks so hard.
Would not want to live on a planet where they are still being glorified by their community.
Yes.
Nintendo isn't being punished economically. If anything, and this is almost too sad to write down, Nintendo is only getting richer by suing and ruining people's lives.
Yeah, it's so... Fuck me in the ass. I hate this. I hate this.
But what Nintendo is being punished for, that Valve and Ubisoft do not, is on a moral level. The joyful company...
guess what? It doesn't matter. Morals? Bro, in the business world?
Known
Funny
for
joke, bro.
Games, is more likely than not conscious that they turned into an evil, money-hungry empire. And in the afterlife, where they get judged before the gates of heaven, they do not know whether they get in or stay out.
They stay out! They stay out, motherfuckers! That
is an unbearable pain that only the malicious decision makers of Nintendo will have to burden.
It's not the devs' fault as well, guys. I just like to mention, like, I understand that you probably understand, but just in case you don't, I want you to understand that it's not the devs' fault. It's the decision makers at the companies.
Quick note, if I do not upload the video after this one, I most likely got abducted and killed by Mario. So keep an eye out on the next video, please.
That'll be reasonable, honestly, given how Nintendo roll.
As a conclusion for the video, everybody makes...
That is like the third video I reacted to where I end up going on a fucking tangent about how much I hate Nintendo. This is lovely. And any opportunity to hate on their company.
Mistakes in their life. And that is only normal. As without making mistakes, we can't progress.
Yes.
But if you are actively aware that you're making mistakes and refuse to learn from them, something bad will come your way.
Please, I hope it does.
May it be in the realms of reputation, economically, or morally, karma is and your good game goes bad. Thank you so much for watching the entirety of the video.
What an absolute fucking banger of a video. Holy shit. I actually cannot believe I've never watched this guy before. That was so informative, man. Oh, open up the description. First link is his video. This one only has 600k views. Now, granted, my videos get way less than that, so you're most likely we're most likely not supporting him that much. But let's do our part, guys. Just go click his video, watch it through. If you can't watch it for whatever reason, just watch it on mute. Give it a like, leave a comment. That's the right thing to do, because us reaction channels can be a bit of a grief if none of you end up watching their video in the end. And with that said and done, my main channel is also the second link in the description. Hit that up as well. I think we will 100% react to another one of this guy's videos later if he has any other bangers in store for us. See you in the next one, which is tomorrow because I make 3 videos a day now. Right, that's right, fuckers. Daily uploads. All right, bye.